Welcome to the vault. This is a vault episode. That means that I do not have a planned date for this to be released. This just means that it is pre-recorded and I'm probably at college right now. $10 says it's either midterm or finals week. Who knows? But anyways, I'm busy. I can't film one at the moment, so you're seeing this instead. This is being filmed, for reference, this is being filmed June 29th. So whenever it ends up out there, who knows? It'll be interesting. It'll be a little adventure. We'll all find out together. Okay. Today I want to talk about communion. You ever have communion, you guys? I have communion. But it's weird, okay, pastor goes up and he does the whole this is the bread, it's my body, it's given for you for the forgiveness of sins, and also then this is wine, not Dr. Pepper, but this is my blood given and shed for you for the forgiveness of sins, do this in remembrance of me. We all know that, but what respectfully, what does this is my body? That's bread. That is a loaf of bread, and that's not blood wine. So what's happening here? Let's talk about it. Because if you ask a Lutheran, if you have a Lutheran around you, ask them to describe communion. What is communion? What's happening there? $10 says they're going to say it is, they're going to ask, okay, no, wait, hang on. How should we phrase this to get the answer, the very specific answer I want them to give you? Ask them, where is Jesus in the bread and wine? Do that one. Ask them, where is Jesus in the bread and wine? And I betcha they're going to say, well, Jesus is in with and under the bread and the wine. Great. What does that mean? This is one of the things that I learned in my theology class, and I was like, oh, it's a really easy explanation, and honestly, I'm not sure why we don't give it more often, so let's get into it. In with and underwear. Yeah, get it? Okay, anyways, that's really dumb. So in, what does the in part mean? In just means that Jesus, the body and the blood, is in the bread and the wine. So wherever that bread, the consecrated bread and wine, wherever they are, Jesus is there. Okay? Pretty easy. With. This is a sign for with, just in case you're wondering. So when we eat the bread and drink the wine, alongside the physical bread and wine, we also receive Jesus in the bread and wine, because he's in the bread and wine, and we're going to get with the bread and wine. Okay? In and with. Now, under. The bread and wine are still bread and wine. If it walks like a duck, talks like a duck, it's probably a duck. And if it looks like bread and tastes like bread, it's probably bread. But it's special bread because it has Jesus in it, it has Jesus with it, it has Jesus under it. The reason it's under is because it sure still looks like bread. And it tastes like bread. And it probably smells like bread. I've never smelled communion wafers, but I assume they smell like bread and not first century Middle Eastern man, because I feel like we would have noticed that by now. Anyways, so it's like Jesus's presence is like almost hiding under the bread and wine. Like you cannot physically see Jesus's presence under the bread and the wine. So in the bread and the wine, Jesus is there. Jesus is in the bread and the wine. He's also with the bread and the wine because you were eating and drinking bread and wine, but Jesus is with it, so you're getting Jesus, and then he's under because it still looks like bread and wine. It's that easy. 2 minutes. I just explained that, and I was rambling. It's not. Now, does it make perfect 100% sense? No. Does anything ever? No. Welcome to theology. But that is what we mean when we say in, with, and under. But for reference, let's look at some things that other people believe, because otherwise this would be a 5-minute long episode, and that's really boring. So let's look at some things that other people believe, and then we're going to compare and contrast. That's not a good Lutheran theology lesson unless we bring up Catholics. So what do Catholics believe? Catholics believe in substantiation, which basically means it is not bread and wine anymore. No, that is Jesus. It is. There is no bread and wine anymore. That is Jesus. Which is why when you go to a Catholic church, I went to a Catholic church for a friend's funeral once, and they had communion. I did not take communion. We'll talk about that later if you want. I don't know why I'm saying if you want. I'm not getting any feedback in real time. If I have time, I can talk about why. I did not take communion. But after communion, the priest went around, like out of the altar and around a bit. And he sat there and he chugged the wine. Just hammered it back. It was the juxtaposition between my man he wasn't shotgunning it, but my man throwing down a glass of wine and a friend's casket. It was bonkers. Absolutely bonkers. But when you think about it, like, that is Jesus. And what are you going to do if you have leftover wine? That is, if you have leftover Jesus blood, what are you going to do? Throw it down a sink drain? That feels a little not great. A little wrong. I would just throw it on the ground? Maybe? But again, it's Jesus. You are holding Jesus. You're going to throw Jesus on the ground? Actually, I think that is fine. Because then it returns to the earth. But, like, you're going to throw it down a sink drain? Flush it down a toilet? Like, it's Jesus. So you consume Jesus. Oh, Catholics. I love Catholics. We do not believe that because we still think that it's bread and wine. Catholics don't. Baptists, on the other hand, think that it's just bread and wine. There's nothing else. There's nothing else to it. It is just an expression of faith. It is meant to bring the church together. And that's it. Not great, also. We do believe that Jesus is there. It is a means of grace. And yes, forgiveness does come from communion and a bunch of other things, but communion. So there's that. We don't agree with that. And then my personal favorite, John Calvin. My screen just froze. I don't know if that's going to show up in the video. John Calvin. Let's talk about him for a second, shall we? First of all, I love John Calvin. This man, bonkers. You ever heard of double predestination? And I hope you have, because I had a whole episode about it. That's John Calvin. Okay, so that's who we're dealing with here. So with John Calvin, Jesus does not come down from heaven into the bread and wine. Rather, when we eat it, our souls go up into heaven with Jesus to eat there and then come back down. I hope I don't have to explain to you why that's insanity, but I'm going to anyways because I think it's funny. No, that's not how that works. Okay. First of all, Jesus does say that no one ascends to heaven until the time, like that's not a thing. We don't just get a whoop and come back down. It's not. Also, what do you call it when a body no longer has a soul? Dead. How long is our soul gone in heaven for? Because then our bodies are dead until that thing comes back. But I don't remember dying every 2 Sundays. I feel like that would be something I would be aware of if everyone just died for a couple seconds. So there are some theological issues with that one. Just think about it for a second while I take a sip of Dr. Pepper. Love John Calvin. Such a weird man. So that's that. Honestly, in with and under. Jesus is in the bread and wine, Jesus is with the bread and wine, and Jesus is under the bread and wine. Playing peekaboo. No, he's not. It'd be funny though. Communion is like peekaboo. So that's that. That's my little vault episode for you guys. Hopefully I'm not too stressed out right now. Whatever's going on. Probably more than likely I'm just tired and would rather take a nap. I'm pretty sure that's probably just what's happening. Or I'm studying. No, I'm not. Let's be real. It's college. Who studies? All right, you guys. That's it for this week. Come back eventually. The next topic that I'm filming is how do pastors pull Bible verses out of their butts? Probably that title's going to be changed because I don't think my mom's going to put that up. But how do pastors come up with Bible verses on the spot? There we go. I figured it